You're now listening to All Hog Sports, covering all Arkansas Razorback sports, such as football, basketball, baseball, and much more. Now, here's your host for today's show, Sam Stimson.
Now, in the College World Series at Charles Schwab Field, Arkansas dropped their first game up here in Omaha to the Ole Miss Rebels. Ole Miss has been incredibly hot all postseason. They haven't lost a single game since the SEC tournament. Ole Miss dominated this game 13-5, and it really got started early in the top of the first. And it started off, Graham got a single to center, and then Bench ended up scoring for the Rebels, and then Morris really lost control of his command. He did not even end the full inning. Cole Ramage came in for relief, and then a ton of guys were on base due to hit by pitchers and walks. A batter got walked in. Morris got pulled. Ramage finished the inning. Then we went to the bottom of the first, and Arkansas got some things going. It was only 2-1. Then top of the second, 2-run home run from Tim Elko, the Ole Miss power hitter. Then we go to the bottom of the second. Arkansas still fighting 4-3. And, okay, you go. So we have the bats to compete in this. We just need a way to slow down at the plate. And it didn't happen. Ole Miss obviously scored 13 runs. In the fifth inning, they put on some more insurance runs, led 9-3, then 10-3. And then we go to the eighth, and they ended up scoring 3 more runs in the top of the eighth. Arkansas scoring 2 in the bottom of the ninth. The final score, 13-5. Main thing for Arkansas is it was just a full bullpen day. Arkansas started Zach Morris, and there was a decent amount of, differing opinions on Arkansas starting Zach Morris, starting McIntyre. Morris obviously got the start against Oklahoma State in the Stillwater Regional and looked good and looked the part. McIntyre getting the start against North Carolina. So you have 2 guys who've been pitching good in the postseason, and you kind of roll with the more situational matchup here with Arkansas matching up with a lefty for an Ole Miss team that doesn't hit lefties as good as they've hit righties all year. And it didn't work out, and then you end up going to guys like the Penn, Ramage, Taylor, Wiggins, and they get you about an inning relief, but then after that inning, they end up really struggling. So then you go to your later bullpen guys once it's a 7-run game, Tress, Starks, Ledbetter, just pitching guys that you probably won't pitch into close games, just trying to close the game out and save your fresh arms. Arkansas has played 2 games in the College World Series and have not pitched Hagen Smith, Brady Tigert, McIntyre. They have a lot of options still on the table going forward for their next few games. Overall, for those pitchers, obviously they gave up 13 runs, all of those being earned runs. 13 hits and 11 walks, 10 strikeouts. I mean, the strikeouts isn't a horrible number. They were able to strike out a decent amount of batters, but the hits obviously very high. And the walks were very high up there with 11. You're not going to win many games giving up 24 base runners in a 9-inning game. Morris credited for the first loss of the season for him, 0.2 innings, 2 earned run, 2 hits allowed, had 3 walks, and then after that, Ramage gave up 2 earned runs, Taylor gave up 2 earned runs, Wiggins with 4, Starks with 3, and then Tress didn't give up any, but he did have 3 walks in that one. Arkansas in this one, the hitting, like I said, kind of started off really hot and got things going with Braden Webb scoring off that Turner double, and then Stovall scoring Robert Moore, and then Zachary Gregory dropping down a sacrifice bunt. Arkansas kind of was able to keep up in those early innings, and then it really slowed down. Only 8 hits, 3 of those coming past the 5th inning for Arkansas. Michael Turner was 1 out of 4 from the plate. Braden Webb was the best hitter for Arkansas in that leadoff spot. He was 2 for 5 from the plate. Jalen Battles, 2 for 4. Peyton Stovall, 2 for 4 from the plate. So your usual suspects for Arkansas were able to get their good plate appearances, but nothing tremendous. What's worth noting, Brady Slavens did go 0 for 4 in that second spot. He had 2 strikeouts, Caden Wallace 0 for 3, one of Arkansas's higher OPS guys. Didn't have the best day at the plate. Lanzilli, I think he's either first or second in team average. It always ends up changing. He was 0 for 4 from the plate, and Gregory 0 for 2 from the plate in his at-bats. Main thing for Arkansas in this game versus Ole Miss, it's pretty easy to recap. You look at that final score, the hits, the on-base. Really, there was a lack of guys in the bullpen who were providing innings, and Arkansas was getting themselves into constant counts of 2-0, 3-1. And at that point, when you're basically throwing desperation strikes to not walk-in batters, those are very easy to produce hits off of, and very easy for Ole Miss to score those runs. And props to Ole Miss. I mean, they were obviously the better team, and their pitchers, especially Hunter Elliott, pitched an absolute gym performance on the mound for the freshman, was able to get things done for Ole Miss. Tomorrow's a new day, though. You just gotta kind of move on from the bad pitching performance of tonight, and trust your guys going into tomorrow's game to rebound and kind of put that past you. Now, Arkansas's next game is tonight, Tuesday, June 21st, against the Auburn Tigers. Arkansas taking 2 out of 1 from the Tigers earlier this season. Auburn on the season 46-21, Arkansas 47-21. Both of these teams 1-1 at the College World Series. And the winner of this game will advance to face Ole Miss in the next part of the double elimination bracket. Now, for Auburn, looking at their lineup here, one of their power hitters this season, Sonny DeChata, has been fantastic for the Rebs. The first baseman's batting .389. He's really been able to put solid performances at the plate. Senior batting 59 RBIs in this season with 22 home runs and an OPS of 1.354. Batting average 389. He's really provided plates at just RBIs and so forth. Auburn also has a number of different guys on the season who have provided a lot of good quality at-bats and run insurance. This is a team that can get quality hits. Blake Rimbusk, he's got an average of 331 on the season and an OPS of 853. Brody Moore, the shortstop, average of 294. Kason Howell, the center fielder, a batting average of 283. In their game against Stanford earlier yesterday, and how they got here, they beat Stanford 6-2. Had a late comeback after being down 2-0. Batting off in that, the leadoff spot was Rambusk. Was 2 for 5 in the game versus Stanford, scoring 2 runs. Moore batting in that second spot. DeChata with that high batting average at 381. He was 0 for 4 against Stanford. With a hitter like him, he can bounce back the next day. Pierce, the right fielder, batting 4th in this lineup with an average of 285. Carlson, the DH, he's batting 5th with an average of 302. Foster, second baseman, 6th with an average of 272. He was 2 for 3 from the plate against Stanford. Howell, center fielder, batting 286, and then their lower average guys, LaRue at the catcher, batting 213, and then Bello batting 260. Now starting for the Auburn Tigers will likely be Mason Barnett. He's got an ERA of 3.98 in 18 appearances with 13 start games. He's got a 3-2 record, throws a lot of strikes over the plate in the 90s, 79 strikeouts on the season, holding opposing batting averages to 250. Now, against Stanford, Auburn actually did end up burning their best arm for 2.1 innings. Blake Burkhalter, one of the best closers in college baseball, threw 7 outs against Stanford. He has 29 appearances on the season with 15 saves, 44 innings pitched, holding opposing batters to a low 210 batting average, 66 strikeouts, and only 7 walks. Really fantastic command. ERA of 3.89. Additionally, Auburn will have Carson Skipper, one of their longer relievers. He's got 26 appearances with 56.2 innings pitched. ERA of 4.45. Chase Alsop with a 2.83 ERA and 22 appearances. Carson Swelling with a 5.86 and 20 appearances, no games started. He's usually a little shorter reliever, 1 inning or maybe 4 outs at times. The main thing for Arkansas and Auburn is, this is an elimination game, and they're going to use their arms that they have to make the advance. It is worth noting, though, the skipper did throw 4 innings against Ole Miss and only gave up 1 run. So I'm not quite sure how much you can expect from them getting their second arm, but they did use their first and second, bigger arms out of the bullpen. Arkansas's bullpen is, kind of more complicated, but you haven't seen Tigert yet for what it's worth. Against Ole Miss, Skipper did end up throwing 50 against them. Now I'm starting things off with Arkansas's pitching situation. Arkansas has a lot of guys that they could go with here. Hagen Smith, Will McIntyre definitely round off the top of the list. I do think Arkansas goes with Will McIntyre. You go with your best remaining starting pitcher with the elimination game on the line here. McIntyre was fantastic against North Carolina in Game 2 of the Super Regional, and he was the other contender to start yesterday against Ole Miss. The thing is with McIntyre, brings a lot of the same type of stuff that Nolan brings. The fastball is sitting 90-92. If he can kind of throw strikes and let the defense do their work to some degree, I think he'll have an effective day at the plate. He's got an ERA of 2.81 with 40 strikeouts on the season with 41.2 innings pitched. I do think he earns the start for Arkansas tomorrow. DVH really didn't say anything to the media about who's going to get that start. However, that's really not that uncommon for Coach Van Horn. I do trust him. He's probably got a great plan for the pitching next few days, but you obviously don't want to give that up, to the other team, to everybody. You kind of keep that more closely in. But I do expect McIntyre, 2.81 ERA, 7 starts on the season, to get the ball. Hagen Smith also additionally 4.85 ERA, could be a potential to start, 72.1 innings pitched this season. We haven't seen him start since the Stillwater Regional, and he was kind of shaky there, but then ended up getting 2 saves after that since then, coming out as a closer type role. 82 strikeouts on the season. Cole Ramage is available to pitch. He's pitched the last 2 games for Arkansas. He's a guy to watch out of the bullpen. Evan Taylor did pitch the last 2 games. Last game for Arkansas, 3.46 ERA, holding opposing batters to 176 opposing batting average. He's been able to really effectively limit batters for anywhere from 3 to 6 outs. Brady Tigert, additionally, 3.82 ERA on the season. His curveball has some fantastic movement. And I don't really think you'll see that much of Zach Morris for now, maybe later going forward. But those are your suspects for the Arkansas bullpen. Lots of arms that I think Arkansas has options to go to, and guys that you can rely on for a good amount of outs. But you're going to be a little more close leashed with the bullpen here in this final game. Arkansas, I don't expect this lineup to change. Braden Webb leading off with a 286 average. Slavin's trying to bounce back from that 0-for-4 performance. Then you got Caden Wallace, Michael Turner. He's been incredible this postseason. Him and Lanzilli are both batting a 318 on the entire season. Robert Moore, Jalen Battles, Peyton Stovall, and then Zach Gregory. Main thing for the Arkansas lineup, it's been what it's been all postseason, and that's just scoring with runners in scoring position. And when Arkansas has done that, consequently, they've won a good amount of games. It kind of goes hand in hand as expected. So Arkansas just, backing off of a strong pitching performance at the plate, getting some run support, help them win this game. Now, I do predict Arkansas to win this game versus Auburn and move on. I got the Hogs winning this one 6-4. I think the main difference here is Arkansas getting solid starts out of their starter, which hasn't been named yet, and then the bullpen. I think Auburn's kind of more worn down on pitching, and Arkansas still has McIntyre, who's can be game 2 starter. It was either him or Morris. That Arkansas has a lot of their top relievers who can still pitch. Taylor hasn't pitched that much. And then some other guys out of the pen, Tigers. And then Auburn, on the other hand, their top 2 relievers have, both pitched appearances where it's been 2 innings or more for them. Arkansas also supporting at the plate, run support. I think the hitting gets it done as it has for most of the season. Main thing is, though, at the top of the lineup, your 2 and 3 hitters can't go 0 for 7 like they did in that last game. But I do have the Hogs moving on. Y'all know the deal, though. As always, signing off for now. Woo pig suey.
That's all for today's episode of All Hog Sports with Sam Stimson. Make sure to stay tuned for the next episode covering all Arkansas Razorback sports. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe and leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on social media too. On Twitter and Instagram at All Hog Sports Pod. Like on Facebook at All Hog Sports and Arkansas Razorbacks Podcast. And on YouTube at that same name. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Go Hogs!